Why would two 17-year-old kids get tied up in a mess like this? And this is a very part of the story, because my twin brother and I were separated when we were 21 months old and adopted by different families. And I did not have the opportunity to meet him until I was 13 years old. I met him at a basketball tournament. I made the varsity basketball team, and the tournament was played in Parsons, West Virginia. And as I was going into the gym with my team, this guy says, "Go on in, Johnny." And I said, "I'm not Johnny, I'm Keith." He said, "Oh, you're Johnny's twin brother." And I said, "I have no twin brothers." And it was rather interesting. Back when I was 7 years old, I ran around with a set of twins. They were buddies. And I had some internal feeling that I wasn't quite sure what was going on inside of me that I couldn't understand. And I used to go to bed at night and pray that I had a twin brother just like them. Greg, there is a God. He answered my prayer. So that was my freshman year. So we communicated with each other. And I could go into great detail about what happened the 3 years that we.
Who is who in the picture?
Yeah, who is who?
Who's who? Keith, you're the better looking one.
A lot of people pick that guy out, and that's really me over here. And, so anyway, we joined the Navy together, and that's another 30-minute dissertation on how we got into the Navy. My twin brother, I, was not very good, and we weren't sure he would be able to pass the physical. And so we went alphabetically. His last name is Lowe, and my last name is Allen. So when I went through the eye examination, I went back and talked to him. And he took my place. Hoping that he didn't have any real bad problems. And then after boot camp, we were going to be separated. And they asked volunteers for a secret mission, and we'd heard that it was to a Russian submarine base on the east coast of Russia, which didn't sound bad. So we went through some very intensive psychological training for 7 days. There were 13 hours that passed, like sitting you in a room for 4 hours in a chair, and coming in every so often and chewing you out and asking you what your serial number was. And asked you how big an elephant was and how long a string, crazy stuff like that. And I'm sure what it was some training in case we picked up with Japanese or became an enemy. Anyway, 13 of us passed that test, and they put us on a bus, sent us to Washington, D.C. to the Navy base on 11th Street on the Anacostia River, took all of our identification from us, took our Navy uniform from us, gave it a pair of dungarees and a little old dried-up blue shirt. The only thing we had was our identification. And the 7 days we were there were spent about 2 days on underwater demolition training, small arms, breaking down Thompson submachine guns and M3 grease guns and the 45s. And about 2 days of what I would refer to as very preliminary martial arts, learning how to protect yourself in case you had to take somebody down. Anyway, the first thing you know, we were, and I told Johnny, I said, I don't think we're going to the submarine base. There's no question in my mind that that's not where we were going. And in 6 weeks, we were in Calcutta, India, and I had orders to fly over the hub. While we were in Calcutta there for the 4 or 5 days, they gave us khaki pants and a black tie to wear. And this is a little U.S. Navy mark here, and it was a little silver mark. It looked like a distance like a first lieutenant's mark. And we'd be going down the streets of Calcutta, and we had these soldiers saluting us. And here we were, third-class petty officers. And they thought, well, look at those 90-day wonders. Anyway, I got my orders to fly over the hump from Calcutta into Kunming, China. I got with another Navy man and about 14 Chinese guerrillas, and we had a mission And this is the only real area that concerned me. Our mission was to take out a Japanese radio station that was probably, I don't know how far away, but we traveled 5 days in a truck, and then we got into some Chinese clothing and walked the last 45 miles. It took us about 3 days to do that. And in the middle of the night, the Chinese guerrillas sneaked in, and they had 3 buildings there. There was I think a dormitory, a mess hall, and a communication center. All the buildings were on stilts, and these Chinese guerrillas went in and placed some composition C under them. And about 6:15 the next morning, when all these little guys decided to go eat, that took care of that situation. And we took off running. About 100 yards away, maybe it was about a mile and a half. I told this guy, his name was Abbott. He was from Chester, Pennsylvania. I says, you know, where in the devil are these Chinese guerrillas that were with us? And he said, look behind us. And about 100 to 150 yards behind us, here they were. And what they were doing, in case we didn't get all the guys at the radio station, they were back there to protect our butts, to make sure. So when I got back to Kunming, I was immediately flown to Chungking. And I'm going to tell you very quickly about landing in Chungking. You're in a C-46. And the only thing you can see a river, and there's a little piece of land about that long in the middle of the water. And as you're coming down, and I thought, well, we're going to land on that thing. And all of a sudden, Chungking's up here, and you're down here. And it was a paved strip, just big enough for a C-46 to land and take off. And they come and they pick you up in a sampan and take you over, and you have to go up about 300 steps to the city, and there's a Chinese bus waiting for you there, and they whisk you off, and you're on your way to Happy Valley. It's about 18 miles out. You can go ahead and move. Okay. Oh, incidentally, this is identification. This is the only identification we had. And this is my brother's identification. Mine was stolen. Showed you the fingerprint, and there's our little flag over there again, and his picture, and the rest of it's in Chinese. Okay, go ahead, Bob. Let me just fill you in on the main characters of the play. Was the 3 main characters: General Machangashek, okay, Dai Li, Lieutenant General, Dai Li. Dai Li was probably one of the most hated people in China. He was head of the FBI of China, Secret Service, and he was also in charge of their Army commando units. And he was the director of SACO. And then go to the next picture. Admiral Miles. Have you ever seen a guy with a name Mary? He picked that up